So hello everyone in the second part of the newspaper session, and we are taking the Indian Express. So here we can see that Niti Aayog report, which is suggesting that 40 lakh people rise above poverty line in Chhattisgarh. So this is a very wonderful achievement, which is done with the effort of the state government's various social, economic, political schemes in the medical sector, in the agriculture sector, then in electricity bills, food subsidy. So every socio-economic needs and the demands of today's India is being fulfilled as far as the Chhattisgarh state is concerned, according to state government reports. So on the similar lines, the state like Bihar should also lead, and Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, they also should need to improve the atmosphere of these states so that more economic generation, more economic empowerment can happen, and the India can become an inclusive India.
So, Heron, I have one question. Do you really think can we be successful in elevating poverty completely out of India with the current policies and schemes that we have? And if not, then what changes needs to be done?
See, number one, on complete part, nothing can be done as far as the India is concerned, because we can't go for perfect thing. As far as what are the problems currently exist, is that first number of the identification and the inclusion. There are number of beneficiaries who are getting the poverty ridden schemes. They actually are not poor. So we first need to identify the real beneficiaries, and that can be done with the basis of technological advancement. When we are talking about data analytics, when we are talking about NPCI, financial inclusion, so all these data can be collaborated, and that can be used for that purpose. Number two, there are incidences of late payment and I would say late transfer of poverty ridden scheme financial funds to the state government and by the center sometimes because of some financial problems. Number third is the non-effective usage of this money because of corruption, because of bribery and red tapeism. We should try to prevent that. And for that, direct benefit transfer subsidy scheme should be utilized. Apart from that, poverty is not only economic. When we talk, poverty is social also, mental also. So on multiple levels, we need to work. For an example, in the healthcare sector, we can improve the conditions of poor people by providing Jan Dhan Arogya Yojana, not Jan Dhan, Jan Aushadhi Yojana and PM Jan Arogya Yojana. In the financial inclusion, we can do Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar, linkage of the people. Then in the household sector, PM Jan Awas Yojana can also be of usage. Even the state governments are providing the subsidized and the credit facility for the construction of the houses, so that should be used. And apart from that, the various kind of funds for the employment generation which are started by the central government and the state governments. For an example, Mudra Yojana we have, then MSME plans we have, then skills development, PM Jan Dhan Kaushal Vikas Yojana we have. So all these policies should be implemented, and obviously the active role now comes of NGOs, Panchayati Raj, and especially the collectorate level officers in the perfect implementation of that. So these are few steps.
Okay, so I would just like to ask you, what are the three main areas that we are focusing upon right now when it talks about poverty elevation? Three main areas. जो आपके हिसाब से इम्पोर्टेंट है जब हम बात करते हैं पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन की, कौन से ऐसे तीन इम्पोर्टेंट एरियाज है?
I think, I mean, you say.
Okay, I would say कि तीन इम्पोर्टेंट एरियाज जो स्टेप्स भी हम देखने को मिल रहा है या हमें लेने चाहिए when we talk about poverty elevation. First, हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर की हम बात करें तो हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर में इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू फोकस अपॉन न्यूट्रिशनल सिक्योरिटी विच विल बी अगेन हेल्पिंग इन building a strong immunity of the poor people, or not specifically I would say poor people, of the people. So nutritional security healthcare sector में बहुत important है. Education sector की बात करें तो skills देना is very important, and employment sector will be the third sector. So employment में how we are going to ensure कि poor people they are brought within the fold of formalized economy. उसमें employment में definitely education and skills बहुत important role play करेंगी. So according to me, these are the three main areas जहाँ पे हमारा focus होना चाहिए. That would be helping in poverty elevation. And as far as India के performance की बात करें of poverty elevation, तो when we talk about the multi-dimensional poverty index, so that reflects we are on track, and the schemes that we are having, they are also showing results. So now we need to again focus more upon other areas also, जो मैंने 3 areas mention करे.
Okay, so the sectors which you told, those I told in the beginning, but the important point I've drawn from your ideas is that nutritional security की हम बात कर सकते हैं.
Yes.
वहां पर काम करने की जरूरत.
Then
हम देख रहे हैं कि China is to double space station size, floats an alternative to ISS. Well, Mansi, today I'm not able to see the screen clearly. Not even a single word is visible to me. So can you please continue?
Okay, it's clear to me, yaar. I'm able to clearly see it.
I'm not able to see even a single word.
Okay, China to double the space station size and floats an alternative to the ISS, which is the International Space Station. So we are seeing कि space sector की जब हम बात करते हैं तो the areas around possible space war हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है, even from the perspective of, you know, like when we talk about the security of the space sector, तो space debris से एक बहुत बड़ी problem है. So कुछ areas है which are related to the space safety. And यहाँ पे भी proper, like we need to have a convention or a treaty to which different countries need to be signatory and ratify that in order to ensure कि this space sector जिसको हम बोल सकते हैं कि क्या ये global common है या नहीं है, that is not basically misused.
Well, I think we can say it as a global common thing.
Yes, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to have then proper code of conduct होना चाहिए, proper convention treaties होनी चाहिए, and for the space sector.
So we have treaties, we have conventions, but the irony is no one is actually abiding that.
So moving to the explain page directly, we have already discussed all these topics, so not just going to repeat them. So this topic we have taken up in the Hindu newspaper today. Nagorno-Karabakh conflict and the role of India, या India का क्या stand है, so that's important. Firstly, map work बहुत important है. So let's try to understand the map. So this is the highlighted orange region. It forms the Nagorno-Karabakh. So ये boundary area जो आप देख सकते हो, the small landlocked kind of an area, this is the Nagorno-Karabakh region which lies in Azerbaijan. So this area self-declared as the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, and capital of Azerbaijan, Baku, it is located where it shares border with the Black Sea, Caspian Sea. And we need to know about कि Azerbaijan, Armenia कौन सी countries के साथ अपना land border share करते हैं. तो they're sharing it with Iran, Turkey, Georgia, and Russia, and then the eastern border of Azerbaijan lies with the Caspian Sea. Apart from this, यहाँ पे एक lake भी है, so we need to identify the name of this lake. कौन सी lake है Armenia के अंदर. Now coming to the facts. So the conflict between Armenia, Azerbaijan over this region, it is called one of the frozen conflicts of the world. So this conflict hai, it erupted on 19th of September जब Azerbaijan ने it launched an offensive. Within 24 hours, it declared victory over the separatist province of the Nagorno-Karabakh. So authorities of this province, they have now said कि जो ethnic Armenians enclave है, it would dissolve on 1st of January 2024. And though far away, जो recent developments है South Caucasus region में, it have implications for India also. So India के लिए क्या implications है हमारे लिए, ये ज़्यादा समझना important है. So this we can go through. This is again factual thing कि क्या conflict चलती हुई आ रही है. And this is again a decade-old conflict कोई resolution नहीं निकल के आया है. This is 5-kilometer Latin corridor. तो ये important जो names and terminologies है, they become important. So this region, it is going to have influence between the regional powers since medieval period. So Imperial Russia, Ottoman Empire, So modern day Turkey, this is the Ottoman Empire, the earlier, and then Persian Empire, which is Iran. So India's position kya hai? So on this conflict, India, it has always steered clear of taking sides. So 2020 May, after this conflict, it broke out. India said ki it believes that any lasting resolution of this conflict can only be achieved peacefully through diplomatic negotiations. And this time after the conflict, Delhi, it has made clear ki it encouraged the parties to move forward on ensuring long-term peace and security in the region through dialogue and diplomacy, which includes the safety and well-being of all the civilians. So this is what India's stand is, supporting dialogue and diplomacy through having a proper resolution of this issue, and then again ensuring the safety of human rights and ensuring that this does not lead to the crisis of refugees, which we are again seeing it is one of the fallouts out of this conflict. So India's ties with both Armenia and Azerbaijan, importantly, the region that is central to its plans of connectivity through the South Caucasus region. So from the perspective of connectivity, this region becomes important, and agar yahan pe disruptions and instability hogi, so again, this wouldn't be a reliable route. So India.
Okay, just let me read now.
Okay.
I'm able to see you.
Fine.
Yeah, just scroll it down a little. So what we can see here is that we have a lot of historical relations of India's with the Armenia when we talk about the ancient India. So the Krishna and Ganesh were two rulers who escaped from Kannauj and made their establishments as an Indian settlements in Armenia. So the very interesting fact in 149 BC. Then we are talking about Agra, which is considered as a prominent city during the Mughal Empire. Akbar believed to have an Armenian wife, whose name was Mariam Yamani Begum, who belongs to the Armenia. In 16th century, Armenian community emerged in various cities like Chennai, Mumbai, Agra, Kolkata, and today the original community is mainly settled in Kolkata. So we have a lot of relations with the Armenia as far as the history is concerned. The PM Narendra Modi, if we talk about, so he was followed by external visit to Armenia in 2022, and then we have some inscriptions also in Devanagari and Gurumukhi, which we found in 18th century around in Baku. And Indian merchants during the Silk Route to Europe enjoyed in Azerbaijani cities like Baku and Ganja. So both the countries have historical and diplomatic importance as far as India is concerned. And the very first embassy of India in Armenia was established in 1999. And since then, we are having the diplomatic relations. Armenia publicly endorses India's position on the resolution of the Kashmir issue on a bilateral basis and supports India's aspiration for a permanent seat. So that becomes a very much important as far as today's India is concerned. And then we have India-Armenia deal to supply Pinaka missile, multi-barrel rocket launcher, tank missions. So in the defense sector also we are having the cooperation. Azerbaijan proximity to the Pakistan because of being a Muslim country and perceived as an irritant in the ties. So foreign President Dr. S. Radhakrishnan and Jawaharlal Nehru visited Azerbaijan, and Venkaiah Naidu also visited Baku for the NAM summit in 2019. Then Armenia and Azerbaijan are the members of International North-South Transport Corridor, which becomes very important as far as the international developments are concerned. India is keen to develop. India supports Armenia's proposal to include Iran's Shah Bahar port in this trade route. Tensions in the region directly impact India's plans to bypass Pakistan as a gateway to Europe and Russia, and New Delhi has to figure out. So currently, what is the stance of the New Delhi? Is very diplomatic when it's saying that we want the safety, security, integrity of various countries, whether it is Armenia or Azerbaijan, and we are not throwing any sort of ball in both of these courts. So currently, the ball is in the court of India. So we have to take the appropriate decision as far as the situations are concerned.
Yes. So this we've already seen, the Nobel Prize for Literature. I think we can now move on to the editorial page.
Exactly. So here we are talking about unpredictability of Putin. As war in Ukraine continues, Russian leader will remain a problem that needs to be managed. in defeat or victory? Well, before we delve into this topic, there are some suggestions of some communities in India, especially, that why Putin is extending this war. He's having enough arms, ammunition, economic power to destroy the Ukraine and to actually annex that. On the other section, we have the human rights propaganda, human rights, not propaganda, human rights section, who are saying that Ukraine should be provided the safety, security, and sovereignty as far as its domestic territory is concerned. And Russia should try to improve its condition and should try to bring back its troops from the territory of the Ukraine. So let's see what Mr. Pratap
One
Bhanumehta has
point
to say on.
I would like to just add up as you raise this question ki why Russia is extending this war. So one of the reasons is because the Western world, USA, these powers, they are supporting Ukraine in this war. So that's why even Russia now it needs to take decisions accordingly, taking into consideration this aspect also.
So do you think this point is justifiable?
Yes, definitely it is justifiable. How can we say,
Okay, let's
how
suppose.
can we deny
Let's
it?
suppose.
Ki US and
Okay, let's
Western
suppose.
are not supporting Ukraine. They are
Let's
supporting,
suppose that
it is very
tomorrow. Yeah, let's suppose that tomorrow,
Hmm.
uh, the Pakistan, is having the similar kind of support from the whole West.
Hmm.
And the similar kind of situation is happening that India is at war with Pakistan.
Okay.
So, will it be justifiable to say that Pakistan is having the support of West or India is because of that India is doing war? We can't actually say that if the
No,
whole world
I'm
is
not
coming
saying
to
this.
one
I'm not
country.
saying this. You said ki why, Russia, it is extending this war when it is so powerful a country, specifically in comparison to Ukraine. So in that
Yeah.
context, I'm saying ki Russia needs to also take it. It needs to take this thing into account ki Ukraine ko jo support kar rahi hai countries, they are also equally strong. So we can't say ki specifically Russia is war ko extend kar raha hai, ya it is not trying to end.
Okay. So you are saying that the US led Western powers are fueling the war by supporting the Ukraine. You should
Yes.
have said this.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously this is happening. So Russia is also having arms in his hand and is providing a lot of deterrence to these countries. But if we talk about the India's and especially the MEA, so obviously they have suggested that the war should be ended. Even the Prime Minister Narendra Modi during
Hmm.
the international summit suggested Putin that this world is rising towards the economic sector and we should try to improve the conditions of the people rather than focusing on the war. So one of the most remarkable thing about this war has been we have constantly been surprised by the way secondary effects of the war have played their role on economies and society. If we talk about the gas-based great projects, then renewable energy, the bilateral relations, the trade relations, various kind of sanctions which have been put on the Russia, various kind of associated countries like India and other who have been pressurized by some of the countries like West to cut out, the trade relations within Russia. But because of the diplomatic effort, this has not been realized. And may have gambled that Europe's energy dependence on Russia will make it vulnerable to the point for them but perhaps equally predictions about how sanctions might get Russian economy to collapse. So obviously, as we numerous times talked about that the world is in hue and cry. Everywhere there are war going on. If we talk about the African peninsula, if we talk about the Europe, especially Ukraine, then Azerbaijan, Armenia, every country is somehow going with some sort of insurgency tensions, and on big level we are seeing the wars also. So here the active role comes of the United Nations like agency to prevent such kind of things. And third question is situation in the ground in Ukraine, the sizing the degree to be the current status on the ground is being increasingly. So I mean the author simply wants to say that the situation is not good and we should try to improve the situation as far as the Russia and Ukraine are concerned.
Yes, definitely. War is no solution to any problem. So definitely we need to move towards peace.
Yeah, and the irony is when everyone is talking, the whole world is talking about solution, but the irony is no one is having the solution of this.
Yeah, because it is very difficult to get all the stakeholders on the same platform in order to ensure that they really want to end this war. So that is also one problem, ki whether Russia or be it Ukraine supported by the Western world, do they really want to end this war or not? Because Western world ko in a way economic profit bhi ho raha out of this war.
No, I think if we are saying that Western world is fueling the war with the help of Ukraine, so we can also say that China, North Korea are also fueling the war by supporting Russia,
Yes,
isn't so?
definitely, that's true.
Yeah. So Sikkim warning hydroelectricity push in northeast must be accompanied by safety measures that respect the region fragility. So, but we saw that an earthquake which recently occurred in in Nepal, and on the same lines we are talking now about the Sikkim. So, the State Disaster Management Authority, Sikkim Disaster Management Authority, should try to improve the standards of and safety measures to prevent such kind of things like cloudburst in the Shonak Lake, which was seen, which led to the glacial body outburst, and Changtang Dam. The dam should be properly monitored. Their capacity should be properly built up, and the Himalayan region's fragility because of the tectonic zones, because of other fragilities, they should also be taken into account by various disaster management authorities. And we have NDMA plans, NDMA guidelines, along with the Yokoshima guidelines of the disaster management that should also be incorporated. And especially the role comes off here of the security forces and the technological workforce who needs to ensure that such kind of things do not take place. And climate friendly culture needs to be adopted by everyone, whether it is Sikkim or it is Kerala, to prevent um, such kind of calamities and destruction of life and property. And hydroelectric power is a major source of revenue for Sikkim. But despite that, we cannot neglect and deny the very fact that this leads to adversities on the our natural sectors, especially the Himalayan region is concerned.
Yes, so Herin, I would just like to bring in one aspect that the importance of Dam Safety Act also becomes important. So now that needs to be reformed accordingly as per the changed circumstances on the ground.
For that, I think the recently passed dam bill or the dam act can be taken into note, which was just passed in the last year.
Yes.
So now we can see a bank for the future. So fast paced of technological change, structural transformation of the economy can create regulatory blind spots and vulnerabilities and challenging the standards and methods taken for granted. So what the author is talking about, he is the chairman of the SBI. So India's banking and financial sector has been untouched by these forces. Over the last 75 years, banking in India has been matured into a vibrant sector. The emergence of private banks, specialized NBFCs, emerging financial ecosystem, and today we are seeing the financial technologies, financial technology companies, startups, UPI, Aadhaar, eKYC, Bharat e-bill payment system. So numbers of initiatives have been in working towards the digitalization, especially in the financial sector and the banking sector. And knowledge-based regime enabling by the AI and cognitive computing is also working on to function and process in effective manner. Then we have concerns like mushrooming of unregulated digital lending apps, cryptocurrencies, cyber attacks. Obviously, on these issues, our agencies are working constantly. If we talk about the cyber attacks, we have the cyber attacks policy. If we're talking about cryptocurrencies, so RBI have strict guidelines on the cryptocurrency, and proper checks and mechanisms have been built it on. Then climate change has emerged as a major challenge for the banks because of equal but differentiated responsibility. Climate change, why so? Because of the credit supply which is being done to the farmers, but because of the fragility and volatility in the production that leads to non-payment and leads to NPA like problems in the agriculture sector. And somehow these geographical factors, because agriculture sector provides raw material to the industry, to the manufacturing industries, and when these are not fulfilled, so that also leads to a lot of NPA by the industrialists also. So that is a major reason, which is climate change because of that. Then skill gap is widening, quality of human resources are not there, and we have a challenge of net zero transition to meet the demands of the global climate change agenda. Upskilling, reskilling is also getting focused. Out of the box ideas are today's need, and government structure is a backbone of an institution. External financial stability, we are also focusing on capital account convertibility, not in the full, but yes to the maximum, to provide um, our businessmen to provide our domestic industrialists you know, upper hand in getting finances, and more FDI, more FI can come, and the economic generation development can happen in India. Insolvency and bankruptcy code we have. Then we have NARCL, All these agencies have been addressing market liability, market failures by creating institutions to provide relief into the banking sector in a long run. So this much is in this. So basically, the author is suggesting that on multiple areas, especially as far as the finance and economy sector is concerned, we need to work and we need to take into account that how climate change is a major reason because of the failure of banking sector, which we need to curb as soon as possible.
Yes, so I think we can end it up here. We have covered all the important topics for the day.
Okay, so thank you so much and stay with us, keep watching. We'll meet you tomorrow. Thank you so much.